FPL Gameweek 1 team selection, and I've somehow ended up with 3 Liverpool players, having had none in my last draft. There's 8 changes in total, mainly tweaking things in the defence, which I found most tricky. Help me get this one to 1,000 likes and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'm answering all comments on this video today. Let's get into it. I've got my free team rating from Fantasy Football Hub and it's come out at 96%, which is the highest it's been. So I've got to be pleased with that. Predicted to score 66 points. You can get your own team rating for free using the link in the description to this video. And while you're there, why not become a Fantasy Football Hub member? 50% off ends very soon. And they're so confident that you'll become a winning FPL manager that if you don't win your mini league, they'll give you a 100% refund. You can't say fairer than that. Starting off in goal then, and I've switched price bracket and I've gone with Newcastle United's Nick Pope at 5 million, who looks to be probably the safest route into the Newcastle United defence right now. He's won the #1 shirt back. He's kept 3 clean sheets in pre-season. It feels good to have a more premium goalkeeper in a defence that we know can keep clean sheets and have got good opening fixtures. So he comes in for Henderson. I am still interested in Henderson. If I end up having to save 0.5 million because of news that drops ahead of the deadline, then I would be prepared to drop down. But he's in at the moment, and I've gone with Fabianski as the backup, just as someone that's got a chance of minutes at some point this season. Into the defence then, and Vardiol keeps his spot. He's the most owned defender in the game and so much attacking potential, 6 goal involvements in the final 10 games of last season. He did play deeper in the Community Shield, but I think Kyle Walker is very close to a return to the City 11, which will give Vardiol the licence to get forward. We don't know if he's going to be as advanced as he was last season with Foden in front of him. It looks like it could be Doku for game week 1, but it's Ipswich at home in game week 2. I couldn't just go into that fixture with just Erling Haaland, so Vardiol is a must for me. Now I've managed to find the funds to squeeze Trent Alexander-Arnold into my defence, and I'm really excited to own him. He's one of the most consistent defenders for attacking returns in the game, and he really impressed me in Liverpool's final pre-season friendly against Seville, where he got his first minutes of pre-season. I'm not going Salah, so I feel like I'm a bit safer having Trent in here for some cover for Liverpool, and the opening fixture couldn't be much better with Ipswich away. Squeezing Trent in means that there's no room for an Arsenal defender. I did have Gabriel in my previous draft, and this is the real compromise with this team, is no Arsenal defence. I know a lot of managers aren't going there, but I think with Wolves at home and Brighton at home in the opening 3 game weeks, that there's going to be potential there. We saw Gabriel and Saliba get on the score sheet for Arsenal in their final pre-season friendly, so it is with regret that he doesn't make it. However, I think Trent is way more exciting. Remember how many attacking returns he's capable of getting. Now, I've actually ended up doubling up on the Liverpool defence. I'm not quite sure how this has happened or how I feel about it in the long term, but Jarrell Kwanzaa of 4.5 million, it looks like he's favourite over Konate to start the season as Liverpool centre-back alongside Virgil van Dijk. And at 4.5 million, he's got the potential to be an absolute bargain. Now, he is a riskier pick because we're not 100% sure that he starts and he may not be nailed long term. However, I think as this gift, I've got to go with him. I could have gone with a Newcastle defender at this price point. I did try Lewis Hall, but I decided to go with Pope in goal instead. So it's a tricky price point. I would have liked to have maybe tried to get one of the Crystal Palace fullbacks in potentially as well at that 5 million price point, but I only had room for a 4.5, so Kwanzaa is the one that gets the spot. It also means there's no room for Pedro Porro as I shift funds around in this defence to get Trent in, and there's very little to offer on the bench where I've gone with 2 4 million defenders. We've got Barco and Harwood Bellis. Now Barco again isn't absolutely nailed, and I have ditched that 4.5 million defender position, which makes this setup more high risk, but Harwood Bellis is guaranteed minutes. Not the greatest fixture in game week 1, but then the schedule does improve for Southampton, so hopefully he offers me something if needed. Moving into midfield then, and it is Saka that still headlines this midfield. I'm very happy with my attacking setup now, and even though I've not managed to fit in an Arsenal defender, I'm happy knowing that I've got Saka in this lineup who gives me bags of potential. He's got so many routes to points through his goal and assist threat, and he's on penalties. He's normally on corners, but Declan Rice seemed to be nailing them in the Emirates Cup. So whether that is something that continues, we don't know, but still I'm not concerned. Saka is a star man in this Arsenal side, and I'm very happy to have a slice of it. Now, the last time I shared my draft with you on Sunday morning, I had Anthony Gordon in my midfield, but I did caveat it and said a big performance from Jota in the final pre-season friendly for Liverpool would mean that he could potentially come in, and that's absolutely happened. Jota's done very well in pre-season, 1 goal, 3 assists, scored an absolute screamer. So he is the one that comes in. I feel again like I need to cover Salah. So not having Salah, he's 5 million cheaper. Obviously I've gone with Trent in the defence as well, but it's still cheaper than owning Salah, but gives you a slice of the Liverpool attack. So I'm very happy to have him in because he should start the season as Liverpool's number 9. Again, a risky pick because he could lose his place at some point. So again, a little bit more short term. Now, Smith Rowe stays in this 11 as well as the budget enabler, 5.5 million. Again, I'm quite keen to own him, say that I've got a player in the first game of the season. The fixtures are great for Fulham, 2 promoted sides after the trip to Manchester United, so he is fantastic value. Marco Silva has had his first press conference of the season already, and he did say on Smith Rowe that he needs to do some work on his fitness, but he's seen already that he's made an impact. Now, I'm not worried about that comment because I think he will be a starter against Manchester United, and there's 3 midweeks in this period for Fulham, so it's not like it needs to be slogged, it's just 1 game a week. So I think that's absolutely fine, and I'm happy to still own him. Now, the other big change in my attack then comes in the 4th midfielder spot. The last draft I showed you, I had Oscar Bob from Man City as a bit of a punt starting for game week 1 with Nkunku on the bench. However, I've now found room for Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze. It's the first time he's been in my game week 1 team through a month of pre-season tinkering. But if you watched my video the other day where I weighed up the form and the fixtures, it became increasingly obvious of the potential of Eze. Finished last season really strongly in this Glasner side. Great fixtures, dominant on the set pieces with Elise gone. The predictions show that he could keep pace with the premium midfielders. He's got penalties as well, so he's in. There's no changes in my forward line. I'm absolutely going with the template of Haaland, Isak and Solanke. I have experimented with dropping Solanke and going with a Salah draft, but I feel like I've got the balance right here. Solanke feels like a bit of a gift at 7.5 million. As a Spurs attacker, he's been priced to be the number 1 at Bournemouth, but with 19 goals last season, I can only see that improving in a much better attack in the Premier League. So very excited to have him in and feeling quite confident in this forward line now. It just screams goals to me. You look at the number of goals they scored last season. Haaland, 2 consecutive golden boots. Isak with 21 goals himself. A great opening fixture at home to Southampton as well. I think there's a reason why this front line has emerged as a template, and I think at times we overlook the template and want to be different, but I think we just need to embrace it because these are the most obvious picks you can make in your FPL team this season. Now, the other big decision for me in game week 1 is captaincy, and I know I've not really discussed this before. I've got 3 options. I've got Saka at home to Wolves, I've got Haaland away at Chelsea, and I've got Isak at home to Southampton. Now, Saka, I'm not convinced he'll play 90 minutes in this game after his late arrival from the Euros, so I'm leaning towards Haaland and Isak. Haaland's been the one that's had the armband for me through most of my pre-season drafts. He always blanks in the Community Shield and then pops up with a brace away from home on opening weekend, and I expect there to be goals in this game against Chelsea. They've looked weak defensively. Haaland's already got a hat-trick against them in the pre-season friendly just a couple of weeks ago. So that's where my armband has been. But Isak, I'm looking at him. I look at the fixtures for game week 1 and Newcastle at home to Southampton. That is a fixture that just screams goals. Newcastle are so good at St James's Park, especially when they want to make a statement on the opening day of the season. Isak's had a full pre-season as well, where he's been looking sharp among the attacking returns. He's also got penalties penalties. And the thing that's niggling away at me is that I know a lot of managers will be on the Isak-Gordon combo. A lot of managers will be on Captain Isak. And I feel like Haaland's still maybe a little bit of a differential in a tougher fixture. So with a home game, I am now leaning towards Isak Captain, Haaland vice captain, but this bit can be a little bit subject to change. Fantasy Football Hub aren't helping me out either with this because they're both predicted to score 7.2 points in game week 1. Remember, this side got a 96% team rating, predicted to score 66 points in game week 1. You can get your own team rated for free using the link in the description to this video. And while you're there, sign up as a Hub member for 50% off. Become a winning fantasy manager. And if you don't win your mini league, you'll get your money back. It's only the forward line, incidentally, now that remains from my initial pre-season watch list, but I feel like all the picks here are well justified. So I'm hoping that I'm locked in for FPL Game Week 1. However, the transfer window is open. If Eze was to get a move away, for example, or if any of the team news dropped in the press conference to make any of these picks a doubt, then I would need to make some changes. I am answering all comments on this video today, so drop your dilemmas down below and make sure you hit that like button. Let's go for 1,000 likes on this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And if you want to find out about any last minute changes to this team, then join me on the press conference stream Friday 1 o'clock UK time. Could change subject to the manager's press conference times, and the deadline stream, which will come later in the afternoon. The links for both of those are in the description. Thanks for the amazing support on pre-season and good luck for FPL Game Week 1.